everyone, and welcome to the part 3, the last part of the first episode of Kakariekū podcast. In this part, we're going to talk about how to stay productive at your work and how to be at the top of your game while working. So Adomas knows a thing or two about Facebook advertising, and he is quite good at productive work. So we're talking about all of that in this part, so stay tuned. A few episodes ago on the Lithuanian podcast, we were talking with your colleague at Filippo already, Daugvinas, and he said that he applied some funnel tactics and some, hacks and efficiency tips in real life. Do you apply data in your real life, and do you I don't know. How do you look at life in general when you are a Facebook advertiser? Maybe you do have different routines. Maybe you analyze and look at everything empathetically. Do you notice that?
Yeah. So I think it's more general than that. In the past 10 years, I spent more time living abroad than in Lithuania.
Okay.
So I studied in the UK. Then I went to China, Venezuela. I spent a year in New Delhi. In India, and in 2017 and 2018, I pretty much spent both of those years traveling in Southeast Asia and in Europe. So the biggest lesson that I got from that was the empathy and the cultural understanding. So I think I'm trying to bring that to the advertising campaigns anytime that I create them. But at the same time, it's a never-ending learning experience. So every single day, Facebook is releasing something new. The advertising landscape is changing. In a couple of months, it can flip 100%. Kickstarters were amazing. They worked extremely well in 2016-17. Now they don't work anymore. So if your business was built on Kickstarter crowdfunding, now you're kind of doomed if you didn't have any other sales channels, to get those additional new customers. So I think the biggest goal, or the mindset that you should have going into advertising is that you are never there. So you will never be at the position when you say I figured it out and I don't have to do anything else, and this will run for 5 years and I'll get even more and more sales. Because it doesn't work like that. It's a never-ending
process.
It's a never-ending process. You never stop learning. The platforms are changing so quickly. People's behavior is changing quickly. You get some new advertising channels that pop up, and maybe you can, go in quickly and utilize them. But if you step back a little bit, the advertising platforms and channels will probably change again in the next year, in the next 3 years or 10 years. We have no idea how Facebook will manage the merge of, let's say, WhatsApp and Instagram. Now they are trying to merge the backend of those platforms. How other advertising platforms will appear and disappear. But what doesn't change is the psychology of people. What doesn't change is that you need to have a way to build a relationship with them so that they trust you and they buy from you. And these social networks or these advertising platforms is just a mean to achieve that.
What is your productivity hacks? What did you find that works for you?
So for me, my friend Jacob Lokaitis, he suggested this amazing app called Momentum. Mm-hmm. And you can download it on your iPhone, I think only on iOS devices. So every single day you can set up some habits that you want to track. And you just click a button and it goes green if you completed it, or red if you didn't complete it. So I've been tracking that for almost a year now, or maybe over a year. Mm-hmm. And I began with some simple habits like drink a glass of water after waking up. So that was simple, easy to accomplish. But I also added a habit to read daily.
Okay.
So let me just check real quick. And maybe I can show you in the screen how it looks like.
So it tracks your screen time also, yeah? Is it the same app?
No, it doesn't track your screen time. Okay. But it looks probably
nice.
Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Right, so I can see that I spent I have this habit of reading daily, mm-hmm. and I continuously did that for 291 days. So every single day I would sit down at least for, 15, 20 minutes, sometimes for an hour or so, and I would read. So I managed to get through 57 books in 2018 by
nice.
following this habit.
Wow. I actually was on your Facebook page and you have a lot of book reviews. Now, what do you think are the top 5 books that you have ever read?
Yeah.
What would you recommend?
On marketing and
No,
general.
not only on marketing, just
Yeah,
5 top 10 books that everyone should read.
Yeah, top 5 books. It's really interesting because some of the books that I loved this year or last year or in 2017, other people just don't find them interesting at all. So I had this interesting kind of mindset shifts after I read Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Oh yeah, classic.
Yeah, that one was interesting. But then I read this other book called The Millionaire Fast Lane. And it completely destroyed the Rich Dad Poor Dad book and the offer, and provided a much more interesting approach on how to achieve the wealth in your life. And usually it's not by investing, or you have to be extremely lucky, but it's more about building value as in terms of business.
Okay.
So I remember that the Dot-Com Secrets by Russell Brunson was just an incredible book that I read. It goes very in-depth about these sales funnels that we discussed. So it has a lot of simple principles, how to build a relationship with the person, how to tell your story, how to keep adding more value to the customer so that they stick with you, but you can always provide more and more value and charge them more. But you still need to get them into your business at first in some way. What else? Like there are so many books. It's difficult to pick.
Mainly you worked as freelancer, like you did Facebook ads as freelancer. Now you're working with a team, I guess, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Is that correct? So which is better, like? Which is better? Is a solo or teams better?
That's an amazing question, and I'm happy that you asked it, because when people think about digital nomads or remote workers, they start thinking about these, islands and beaches and palm trees,
cocktails.
Cocktails every single day, and you're just laying on a hammock, somewhere at the beach, drinking a mojito and doing some work on your laptop. But I can tell you that it's not like that. So I loved my experience as a freelancer, but it was extremely difficult at the very beginning. When I first started out, no one knew me. No one trusted me because I didn't have, some agency experience or some big marketing experience. So I had to really figure out how to build my personal platform. And that's when I invested into having my own blog, going into different Facebook groups, spending hours on Quora or somewhere else, responding to people's questions, going on some podcasts, just so that I could build some kind of platform for myself. And that later on, maybe in 1-2 years, that started helping me to get better clients. It's also interesting that I met Matas Jakutis, the CEO of Flip already, completely randomly at an event, which was the Palietas in Lithuanian Pasaulio Lietuvių jaunimo suvažiavimas, or the Lithuanian Youth Summit. And it was very random, a random networking event. We're in the same kind of circle, discussing things. And it was in 2014, and he didn't even hadn't even started Philip already, but he was already running some online e-commerce business. Then I met another Jacob Lukaitis. We became great friends, and he was also my boss for some time at another offline event. So I had to get myself out there and focus on building a personal platform first, so that people would start recognizing me and coming to me. That took a lot of time, and I think people who want to become freelancers, they should start doing that as soon as possible. Now, going back to the question, what is better, what is worse? So it was incredible because after I found this niche in crowdfunding, and after I built a reputation by working with these successful Kickstarter campaigns and helping them generate all those sales, I was able to choose. I was not only location independent, which is great, but I became client and project independent as well. So what I mean is that I was getting maybe 10 inquiries every single day or week. And from those, I could pick the best 1 or 2 that I loved. I loved the product, I loved the team, I loved the people, And I had this freedom to choose exactly what I was working with. If I had worked at an agency, there would always be someone else, like a boss, a product manager, that would say, you have to work with these clients, even if you don't like them. So this independence, location, and client independence was just amazing. But the problem of freelancing is that, it takes time to build that platform. And two is that you are kind of always alone, especially as a freelancer. So whenever you have a problem, you have to figure it out by yourself. You don't have any team members, you don't have any team managers, you don't have, a CMO or a CEO that you can go and ask about it. You have to spend hours and hours trying to learn new things, trying to solve those problems, and it is sometimes it can be just a little bit too much. And also, right now, I spent over 5 years freelancing, and it was, a great experience. But at the end of that, I realized that I didn't build anything tangible. Like, it was a great experience. I traveled a lot. So far, I visited over 30 countries. I spent, years living in Southeast Asia or in Europe. But after these 5 years, and I've also ridden the wave of crowdfunding, but at the end, the wave passed, and I'm left with no tangible assets of my own. So I realized that I really want to get to join some team, to find some co-founders, some partners, and start building a business, a company that would hopefully turn into something really incredible in the next 3, 5, 10 years. So the benefits of having a team is that you can always talk with other people, you can learn new things more quickly. I think things move quicker as well. And when you are freelance, you get more location independence, client independence, but it can also become sometimes lonely if you are just traveling alone. And I have a lot of friends, freelancers, who traveled also for, let's say, 5 years, but they became tired of the traveling experience. When you have to change location every single month or week, when you have to think about the flight tickets and hotels and transport, it's just a lot of work and effort to keep traveling like that.
Maybe you have something to tell our viewers. Maybe you have something that's on your mind that you have just to say to everyone. What would that be?
Well, so we are having this call via Skype because I'm in Toronto, Canada.
Yeah.
So with Eddie Travels, we were accepted to the Techstars Toronto Accelerator, and we'll spend here the next few months. So if anyone loves traveling, and if they are looking for flights or hotels or even places or insurance and so on, you can go to eddietravels.com and check out the chatbot and speak with it, chat with it, send some voice messages on Messenger, and try to break it so that we can improve it and make it better. And just in general, so if you want to become a freelancer, I think it's crucial to start building your personal platform as early as possible. So start expanding your network on LinkedIn. Start publishing some content. Go to offline events and meet people in person, because, like, for me, 5 years later, these pretty much the best clients that I had, or the best people that I met, were offline and not online. The sooner you do, the better, the bigger the platform will become, and you will have much more chances to build any kind of business later on.
What time should be allocated for working and what time should be allocated for learning? Because you can get, some people learn from practice, some people don't, and they have to apply different kinds. You have to read books, you have to do all of that, go to seminars. What does work for you?
Smart work or hard work?
Or just both?
I think I'm guilty of both. So, the reading, for example.
Okay.
I know people that take the opposite approach. I have a friend who was also a digital nomad. Now he's head of an agency, Justas Marcos. Mm-hmm. So he didn't read, I believe, maybe he read one book in 2018. I hope he doesn't mind me saying. But he said, it doesn't matter, because he's building the agency successfully. They're expanding the team. They're getting clients. They have a lot of work. And the learning comes from actually doing the work. You don't have to read 50 books to know how to launch an agency and how to publish content. Instead of that, he just goes when he has a need to. Of course, he's learning. So he's going to a lot of different websites, reading a lot of blogs, talking with other people, trying to figure out what are the best strategies to expand the agency and provide better services to their clients. So I think it's just a balance. You do have to spend some time on learning new things, but you always have to try to force yourself to apply those learnings in your work or in your life. It doesn't matter if you read 100 books on personal productivity, if you still don't have the simple ways to manage your time. So in some cases, it's definitely better to just read one book and try to focus it for, a month or 2 months and get all of the lessons from it and implement them in your life. For me personally, it was more interesting to go through more books, because sometimes it's just like one idea in a random book that can completely change my mindset. So I was trying to go to go and read more.
So basically, you just have to do what you love, what you like, and
just finding what works for you.
Yeah, you will be successful like that.
Do what you love is, I think, one of the worst advice that one can give, because of two things. One is usually you do what you love because you love doing it, but you stop loving it when you start getting money for it. It becomes work. So if you love reading books, it's fine. But if someone started paying you to read like 100 books a month, I think sooner or later you might start hating it. Or if you love like painting and you think that you can build a business, from the love of it, but you have no idea how the accounting works, how finding new clients, how difficult it can be, how running a business, how difficult it can be in general. So, and the second part is that I didn't finish high school, I didn't study at university thinking that I will become a Facebook advertising specialist or, a marketing guy. But now I love it because I spend so much time in this industry. I spend so much time learning new things and developing myself. But also the love for the work comes after you get results. So it was interesting, even the quote by Steve Jobs, I cannot remember it exactly, but it said something about, doing what you love, but it wasn't exactly. What he kind of meant is that you need to focus so much on your work that you will eventually actually fall in love with it.
Wow. Okay.
When you think about it, no one loves, let's say, it's a very dark example, but the cemetery business, the funeral business.
Yeah.
No one loves it, right? Or no one loves the sewers, the wastage, treating, all of that. But people who run those businesses, they actually love their work, not the activity maybe itself.
Maybe it's just like love at first sight is a wrong example to follow.
Or what I would say is that just think for a second when you say that, do what you love. It shouldn't be about you doing what you love in terms of business. It should be you helping others to realize their dreams. So if you can help other people become better, if you can provide them a lot of value by doing what you love, that's great. But just don't be afraid to go into any kind of industry. Like I would have never gone into, let's say, chatbots because I don't know, or AI, or I wouldn't have gone into crowdfunding because I'm not, let's say I wasn't doing any, buying any products there. But you can provide still a lot of value to the others if you focus on that. And eventually, if you get results, I think you will start falling in love with your work as well.
I really like this example because people don't like what they're not good at, but once they get good at it, they like it. So it's just
Exactly.
very good philosophy.
Yeah, and
So
you just have to solve problems, and that's all.
bring value.
Yeah.
Okay. So Adomas, thank you very much for your time. You were
Thank you
the
very
first
much.
guest on the first English podcast of our show. Where could people find you if you want to do? Do you still do freelance work, or do you just focus on 80 travels 100%?
Right now, 100% on Eddie Travels. So I still have my personal blog, adomasbaltagalvis.com, but I would just invite everyone to go and check out Eddie Travels. Go to eddietravels.com or open Messenger, search for Eddie Travels, and start chatting with our lovely travel assistant, and we'll help you find the best flight deals.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sonis.
Thank you.
Thank you, the viewers, and we'll see you in the next episode. Take care.